Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. This is the first part in a brand new series that I'm putting together for the new Games Workshop No Fear Warhammer 40,000 starter set. Now, anybody who follows my work, and why wouldn't you be following my work? It's fantastic. You will know that I've recently produced a series on First Strike. Now this is the very basic entry level for Warhammer 40,000. It's a £25 set with basically push fit models. There's 15 miniatures in here. There's a paper mat, there's a piece of scenery which is actually the box turned upside down, there's some dice and a ruler. And yeah, the models go together without glue. You can obviously glue them if you want to, but they push together. The pieces are color coded, so you don't even need to paint them. You can just start playing, and there's 4 learning missions to get you going. Like I say, I've run a series on this, but No Fear is the next step on from that. Really, once you've had that introduction, once you've put together those push fit models, No Fear is probably the next place you're going to go, unless you go hell for leather, unless you go all in on the full starter set, which is £95, I believe. No Fear is £50, but I got it for £42 online, which is a really good deal. It's obviously a lot bigger, a lot heavier than First Strike. First Strike is a tiny box in comparison, but there's a lot more stuff in it, and what Games Workshop have done here is really quite interesting. First Strike, like I said, push fit models. This set is not push fit models. This is the models, a selection of the models that you get in the full starter set. For 31 of them, I think there's 50 something in the big set, but they're still color coded. They're still the enemy pieces. The Death Guard Plague Marines are green, the Ultramarines are blue. So it's kind of like a nice little step up. You've had colored plastic pieces that push together. Now you move on to sort of a more traditional Games Workshop model that requires a little bit more assembly and glue. But you're still getting colour-coded pieces, so you still don't have to paint them straight away. They're still going to look distinct on the board as soon as you get them out. And you're still getting a paper mat, you're still getting a piece of scenery and everything else. So it's actually a really interesting step up from what they did first. And I'm probably wittering a little bit too much without actually opening the box. Let's do that. This box is actually a lot chunkier than First Strike. It needs to be. It's a very heavy box. There's a lot of stuff in here. Ooh. So we'll do that again. All together now. Ooh. Yeah. Coloured pieces. Great. Bases. Those are boring. Dice. Those are dice. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got... Right. Okay. Miniatures. We'll take a quick look at these. I'm not going to go... I'm going to put that to one side for a minute. We'll take a quick look at these miniatures, but I'm not going to do them in massive detail because I am going to do another little video of a quick look at them when they're assembled. But we'll take a quick look at some of the sprues because... Oh, it's fun to do that, isn't it? So yeah, obviously that's a little bit more intimidating than what First Strike had to offer. First Strike had, some of the models were one piece, some of them were 3 or 4, and they just pushed together. This is a little bit more effort, a little bit more work, but really beautiful miniatures, obviously, and I'm very much looking forward to putting those together, especially this is the back. Where's the front of him? Well, there's his axe anyway. The Death Guard Commander is one of those miniatures that I saw and just went, I need to have that model in my collection because it's amazing. And this guy here, I've seen him assembled, and he's sort of running with his bolter out in front of him, and it's such a cool dynamic model. Just really, really cool. And this is a big blight drone thing. So yeah, interesting, because none of the models in this set are models from First Strike. First Strike was those push fit models. This is the next step up, which is actually really clever on Games Workshop's part, not just as in terms of the incremental way that they're introducing new elements, but also in the way that they've created even a very basic entry level box that some people are going to want for those different miniatures. Even if they're long-term players, that it's just extra models that they can get, which is cool. Let's have a look. So yeah, First Strike, sorry, those have come into shot. First Strike had Reavers, Intercessors for the Ultramarines, and then it had Poxwalkers and Death Guards. So you get some more Poxwalkers, you get more Death Guards, more Poxwalkers, more Intercessors. You don't get Reavers in this set. You get some chaps with like plasma rifles, I believe. And you see even the Poxwalkers are a little bit more detailed in this set. I don't think there's no one-piece models this time out. Yeah, Poxwalkers were rubbish when I played through the first learning missions for First Strike. So these are Intercessors, big chunky guns, and there's some jump pack units in here as well. If you want to look at these frames in more detail, I guess you can just pause the video. Right, now I should mention this. This is the cape of a commando unit, and obviously the Death Guards have got a commander as well. So this is another way in which No Fear is stepping up the game. First Strike didn't have any hero models, it was just those basic units. Now you've got a commander on each side, you've also got the Blight drone, which is a vehicle, so they've introduced that extra level. The one thing you're still not getting is any psychic users. That was completely the psychic phase was completely omitted from the original box set of First Strike, and they've still omitted it here. There's no psychic users. So, but there is a psychic user in the full Dark Imperium box set. So again, you're going through that incremental stages. I realise I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but that's what happens when I talk. I tend to repeat myself and witter and drone. I apologise for that. Look at these cool guns. Those are the sort of the new plasma rifle type things. You're going to get a squad of those. They're just going to rip through that Blight drone. It's going to be fantastic. Super exciting. And there's the last frame. But yeah, as you can see, the frames are a lot more intimidating. They're not full Games Workshop crazy. They don't have the full customization options that a Games Workshop miniatures kit has, but there's certainly a lot more going on than what you were getting in that first box set. Cool. Really, really big base. Right, and then there's all the printed materials. That is a really quite chunky book. Paper mat and a much longer flippy plastic wibbly ruler. The first one was only 6 inches. This one is 12. Twice the gaming goodness. Right. I need to open these papery things. So I'm going to do a bit of a jump cut. Bear with me, folks. And we're back. Okay, so I've got all of the paper out of its packaging. One more thing I wanted to show you before I get to that. This was in the bottom of the box. It's a No Fear transfer sheet. This is just something that makes painting easier. And I always appreciate a transfer sheet because, yeah, my freehand's never gonna come anywhere close to that. I am not that good at painting. So anyway, that's good. And yeah, once the box is empty, as with First Strike, the box flips upside down and it becomes a piece of terrain. Sorry for the light glare there. This is obviously the size of the box, so it's a much bigger piece of terrain. So this combined with the other box, you've got 2 cool pieces of terrain. Oh, well, okay, cool is probably a stretch. It's not cool pieces of terrain, but you have stuff that's better than chucking a couple of books on the table and saying, look, that's a hill. Which is what a lot of people had to do back in the day when they first started doing these tabletop games. Just chuck whatever they had in the room onto the table and use that. So yeah, that's cool. And of course they have the paper mat. Now this is a bigger paper mat than the one in First Strike. It's the same width, but it's twice as long. And it is double-sided, and one side, and I'm going to have even more trouble getting it in the camera than I did with the last one. But one side has letters still, so obviously that's going to be for learning missions in the rulebook, and then the other side doesn't. And it pretty much looks to be, half of it is exactly the same design as came in First Strike. There's that crater that one of my Reavers hid inside in the first set of games I played with my friend Dale. And yeah, it's just the same piece of art but extended out. But yeah, odd shape, sort of long and narrow. But we'll see what that's all about when we look at the missions. This is the construction guide, and you can see the full squad of Space Marines. I still don't know whether to say Primaris, extra big Space Marines. But you get 3 jump pack guys, you get a commander, you get 5 guys with the plasma rifles and 5 intercessors with the other guns. Add in your guys from First Strike, you get another 3 intercessors there and 3 reavers. So quite a bit of variety there. Obviously no weapons, no transports, anything like that. I think if you get Dark Imperium, you get all of these models. Sorry, camera wobble. I'm a professional, you know. You get all of these models, and then you get another 5 intercessors, and you get a couple of extra hero characters, I believe. And down here with the Death Guard, there's the Blight Drone, Poxwalkers, and Death Guard Marines. And I believe in the Dark Imperium set you get even more Poxwalkers, sorry. And you get a psychic user and another type of hero character, I believe. Cool. Gotta say, Games Workshop's instructions are just getting better and better. There's a contents list. Is that a thing? I don't remember ever seeing a contents list in an instruction guide before. But there's a contents list. There is information on where to put your insignias and transfers. I don't remember ever seeing anything like that. There is even clearer instructions than normal on how to put stuff together and how to follow the guides. I just think they've just upped their game all the time. And the guides with the colour-coded sections and everything, they're really good. You really can't fault it. Occasionally there is a misprint in these. They've labelled a part wrong, or they've used the wrong size base. That happened with games like Silver Tower. But overall, it's just the best kind of instruction guide you're ever going to get for this sort of thing. And then there's a list of the paints if you want to paint them up so that they look nowhere near as good as that. Really good stuff. You really can't fault that. The only other thing in the box is this great big chunky book. It is quite a hefty tome. And it's really nice. It's got a really nice glossy cover. This is actually the quality that, well, probably better than the quality that I used to buy for army books for Warhammer Fantasy Battle back in the day. It's really nice. So, let's try not to do any spoilers. There's more background stuff on the hobby. What have we got? Contents, there we go. Introduction to the hobby and stuff. Dark Millennium is going to be sort of fluff background. Stuff about the Space Marines, stuff about the Death Guard. Painting guides. And then start playing. We've got 6 missions here. So 2 more than came in First Strike, and the first mission is called First Contact, which, if I remember correctly, was also the name of the first mission in First Strike. Then there's the core rules, sorry, and then there's the data sheets. Unfortunately, unlike in First Strike, you don't get separate data cards in this box. You've just got all of the, let's have a quick look, all of the data cards printed in the back of the book. That's not as convenient, really. I don't know why they didn't include the separate data cards. And also, the data cards are laid out completely differently to how they are in First Strike. I guess this is the official layout, and the layout in First Strike is, I guess that was laid out for beginners, and this is what you're going to get normally. But yeah, I don't like the fact that they're just printed in the back of quite a thick, unwieldy book, really. They should have been on separate sheets or cards or something. Boo to that. Collecting Citadel miniatures. We're not going to go through this whole book. It's massive. Painting stuff. There's more of those MB Games pictures. Look at the fun they're having. Oh look, there's like all that stuff about open play, narrative play, matched play. Stuff about the Dark Millennium. Cool pictures and whatnot. Right. Okay, so yeah, here we go. It's quite cool because they're gonna. Here we go. You've got this stuff on the Space Marines, so it tells you about the captains, the intercessor squads, the Inceptor squads, which are the guys with the jump packs, and the Hellblaster squads, which are the guys with the plasma things. And then it's got about the Death Guard stuff. What else have we got in here? Painting your miniatures. Now, in First Strike, there was some very basic stuff on painting, but it looks to me, sorry if you're getting glare off the lights there, it looks to me like they're going through a lot more detail on painting in this, but it's a bigger book. It seems to be covering all the stages, layering, dry brushing, how to paint the lenses on the eyes, lots of painting stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of painting stuff in here. Oh, here we go, start playing. Right, so there's 6 missions. I'm not going to show them all on camera because that's spoilers. But here you go. Mission 1, First Contact. Use 4 Intercessors, 10 Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers move, Space Marines move, Space Marines shoot. Poxwalkers escape edge. Right, so not only is it called the same, it is the same. This is exactly what the first mission in First Strike was, but on a slightly larger scale. There's more Marines, more Poxwalkers, and a longer map. It's the same thing. That's the same mission. So it's going to be not very exciting. This seems to be laid out in exactly the same way, dealing with new rules and things. Mission 2 against the Horde. Captain in Gravis armor, 10 Poxwalkers. That looks very familiar too. Yeah, so 1 Captain, 10 Poxwalkers. Yeah, those 2 missions at least. I'm not going to look at any more, but it looks to be like it's covering the same ground that First Strike covered, but obviously on a slightly bigger scale. And then after that, it's where we got there? Yeah, here we go. Core rules, and then there's the core rules again. So you're not getting any of the advanced rules in here again. You've got that only war generic mission that was in First Strike as well. So it seems to be covering a lot of the same ground, but there's a lot more stuff. And yeah, right. So that's it for the first look. This has gone on much longer than I intended it to, but there's quite a lot of stuff in this box. I'm gonna build it all. I'm gonna get it all assembled, and then I'll do a little video showing the miniatures, and then I'll try and find someone to go through the scenarios with me, and I might film those, and then you'll get my final thoughts. Until then, I'm going to say bye for now. Bye, everybody.